I'm just going to let you know that your love, keep being you, will need it right now.
And for a moment, everything was okay. I always thought you would come back. I thought you would. We both know there's more to say. I can't let you break my heart.
Like that, like that, like that. Like that, like that, like that. Like that, like that, like that. So relax, so relax.
I can't let you break my heart.
Like that, like that, like that. Like that, like that, like that. Like that when it comes together.
I can't let you break my heart. We both know there's more to say. I can't let you break my heart.
Like that, like that, like that. Like that, like that, like that. Like that, like that, like that. So relax, so relax.
I can't let you break my heart.
Like that, like that, like that. Like that, like that, like that. And you said that we were only friends.
Come back, 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 come back.
Yo, yo. the whole time. Secrets to everything ever. Yeah, the secrets of life, purpose, the infinite money glitch on futures, who really did 9/11. I gave them all. This is wild. The whole chat's just like, y'all don't know how to read lips? Man. All right. Anyways, basically silver buys happened. They mitigated already. So hopefully you guys were able to take something there if you had the contracts to do it. If not, then whatever. That's good shit, guys. Okay. Well, indices are going up. I like Dow buys the best. If that wasn't clear. Bullish structure. I want this to come back down. We are currently trading into, so the market has just swept tons of liquidity, came back down here for, unfortunately, just a few minutes, so not really a long time. I would have wanted sells here, but I wanted demand here for longer, so these are higher. The probability of it staying within the zone does drop. Everything else is absolutely on fire. So we're seeing NASDAQ just on a rampage right now. It just taking out London session highs with NASDAQ. S&P doing more of the same, taking out, trading into London session highs. Hasn't quite swept it yet. And then we have Dow Jones that aggressively pushed upwards, took out tons of liquidity, trading into the in and balance in here. I have suspicions that Dow is going to short from here because we are seeing NQ or S&P take out lots of liquidity, and NASDAQ has taken out London session highs. So I actually think we're going to see Dow Jones respect this. I'm not going to trade this with a lot of risk. This shakeout here is a little bit vulnerable, but with the correlation on what silver has done and everything, if I can get another entry like a little bit higher here, I like the risk to reward to play this way, way, way down. So I'm open to running this way down here, I believe. And for the RR that I'm seeing here and for a smaller, tighter risk, I'm very much open to this. So I'm going to make a limit order with a little bit less here and then see if we can get triggered into this. Right around, honestly, a little bit. Here's what I want to do. I want to market execute because I'm under leveraged here. And then from here, we have, right, the liquidation here. The market comes down, fills this imbalance instantly. Still no demand, comes back in. In the meantime, we're seeing S&P clear out liquidity, tons of liquidity, like a very good amount of liquidity. So a lot of sideways movement like this. And then NQ took out all this consolidation, took out London session highs, traded into Tokyo session, and then I think we can see some good reversals out of here. So, which is what we're seeing at the moment. So nice little move to the downside so far. Let's see if it wants to continue to move nicely to the downside. All right, nice. So we're getting good moves right now. Obviously, with a shakeout setup, the idea is that this lures in retail buyers for the market to then work its way down. So when the market sweeps liquidity, it's a break for the most part, retest. So this is luring in buyers and buyers. Typically, we want to see these lows get swept. So something like this. I'm open to just kind of letting this chop up here for a little bit. Especially if we come and rebalance this candle. Now this is live right now across the board on all accounts. And then what I also want to show here, I want to get into the metal side of things again. Let's see, because we had that silver completely mitigate. It's actually ripping right now. So check this out. That silver buy, we nailed it. So it came through here, blasted through. So that was a successful mitigation. At this point, if you were in silver buys, stops to break even. Okay, just to keep that very much clear here. Stops to break even. We just had a gold alert go off as well. So gold's still just bleeding out. And it's actually working its way to a buy I had set up here. I'm not getting in the way of gold. No way. This bear is just bleeding out. So no shot I get in the middle of gold on this drop. If anything, I think that we get another shot at silver over here now. All right. Meanwhile, we're having great movement with Dow Jones. I think that moving stops at least to here makes quite a bit of sense. Reducing risk here as well. So from here, yeah, we just let this thing continue on down. We can see that NQ hasn't even started really working its way down at all. We have S&P that is slowly pushing downwards. And honestly, that means that this buy position that I was looking at originally, I might not even take this buy. And I'm going to keep holding the short down. So the short is looking super, super, super solid. The original buy idea was, over here, we had this New York Open on Wednesday, so Christmas Eve, before it absolutely rockets from this area. So trading at least to 48,750 or lower is my goal here. And at the moment, guys, we're about to clear the low before New York Open, so we're getting pretty close to that. At the moment, we're seeing about a 2.7 R, so just about a 3 R, 3.5 R if it clears liquidity, and then working its way down to these levels puts us at over a 5 R if it gets down to here. And actually, it should be like over here, which would be a 5.6 R. All right, who's in this Dow sell with me? I know it required very fast movement. It required quick decision making. Obviously, I got in, I believe, right here. So you had, give or take, 2 minutes to take, maybe 3 max, to make a decision around here. And actually, the RR is not what I'm saying because I ended up getting a lower entry. But 3.5 entry if it makes it down to here. If you're clearing liquidity, then, obviously the entry is basically somewhere in here. So you're looking anywhere from like 3 to 5 R based on your decision making. Stops are going to go into profit now. Here, this is doing a great job selling off. And then we're seeing S&P and NQ starting to work its way down. NQ has this nice aggressive push down on the open. So I want to see NASDAQ get down to this open, get down to this area. I want to see, Dow is clearly working its way down pretty aggressively as well. You can see Dow Jones or S&P make aggressive move here, right there. So we're pretty close. We're not too far from take profit. This is about 60 points out. This has got some room to drop, so yeah, solid. Ideally, the market wants to hold demand down here and not just quickly eat this back up. we want to be, mindful with that. Here's the 15-second time frame if you want a little bit more kind of cleaner price action to look at. Yeah, let's let it kind of sit here. Dow, right, or S&P bouncing out of like this little 1 minute kind of structure, the previous high. So these little rejections are, pretty much expected. But I don't necessarily think that it's over. Like, the most if you really want to lock whatever you have in right now, feel free. Broke the lows, do your thing. I'm gonna let this ride a little bit longer. I think we can get some more out of it. But right now, here we go. Yeah, the risk reward element of this is good. Let's see, chat. Hey, at least my mic went on by the time I took the decision. You know what I mean? Missed you by a bit. All right. Gonna give the Tradetopia future challenge a try next month. Do I need the mini charts as well as the micro? The mini is, the mini is like the actual data. The micro, I use the micro just for execution purposes on here. But that's really just it for me. You got your entry up here. You're a savage. It's so good. Damn, this is what I didn't want. I didn't want the liquidity capture and then the market reverses like that. Let's see what happens from here. This is what I was actually a little concerned about. I had no idea my mic was off, man. Longer than any IM mute. Yeah, that's crazy. I was just on for forever. Man, that was wild. Hey, and the funny, y'all just stayed on with me. Like, y'all were just like, you'll figure it out. You guys know the visuals. Exactly, Joe. You get it. I wonder, we could play the what was I saying in this? It's a test of your faculties and for your ability to trade from your best identity in silence. Exactly. You guys got it. And I was going in. I told you all the answers to the universe. I was channeling God in this moment. All right, what's up, Van Dyke or V Dyke, Patrick, Harshi, Austin? What's up, Corey, Gabriel, Seth, Joe? Yeah, showing love to the Tradetopia community. Love it. Thank you guys for being on all the time. What's up, Savage, Kev, Lonzo? This is Cesar. What's good? Caius, Zaya, Evan. All right, everybody here. What's up? Welcome, guys. All right, so push up, push back down. Okay. We're working our way down. NQ starting to fill more and more of this imbalance, so I definitely want to see it continue to work its way further down. We're kind of starting to get a little choppy over here with Dow, but more liquidity, so that's good. With another break below, I'll more than likely start moving my stop profit down even further. Right now, I got a little bit of profit on the table. What I want to look at is what does price action keep looking like here? Are we having aggressive movement with one over the other? It looks like Dow is starting to actually get more bullish, which is annoying. It couldn't just stay bearish the way it had been and had to go, pick up a bit more steam here. All right, let's see if Nasdaq just wants to fill imbalances and then aggressive and then just keep pushing lower. Now looking at NQ, obviously we saw NQ played out of these order blocks, like this little one over here. It's holding bullish structure pretty well nonetheless. So like I mentioned earlier, it really comes down to Dow. Dow is like what's slowly moving its way further down. So right now, let's see. Fuck, man. Price action is not the greatest here. We've kind of see it. We've seen a shift in structure. Now we're seeing Nasdaq take a lot more bearish momentum versus Dow is starting to move slower. So I might actually take my profit earlier on Dow than I originally had planned. Nonetheless, I'll say that we don't get bullish structure here with Nasdaq. Nasdaq does not make higher highs here. It doesn't. Well, it makes higher highs, but for me, it does not confirm bullish structure because how quickly it works its way back down. So looking at this, guys, look, Nasdaq is starting to trade down into these levels. Things are pretty reversible at this point, in my opinion. So I want to see NQ drop just a little bit further, maybe into this imbalance. And then from here, I'm just going to take my profit on Dow. So if we crack below these lows now in here, now that since Nasdaq is pushing downwards faster, like more aggressively, I don't want to get caught holding Dow Jones if it's going to if Dow is already starting to get more bullish price action, I don't want to keep holding NQ. Or I don't want to keep holding Dow buys if all of a sudden now there's not the same momentum to the downside as it was before. Gold buys. I'm not buying gold. Nah. If anything, I'd buy silver at some point, but not gold. Not right now. All right, so NQ starting, maybe making this next leg down. Dow chilling. So that you can see silver on Apex is crazy. Then don't trade. I mean, like, I wouldn't just take a position on gold just because I want to buy silver or I can't buy silver. They're not the same. Ah, man, this is really annoying. Well, giving back a ton of profit right now on Dow. Let's see if it wants to hold this structure. And, we'll still make a little something here. Let's see. This is just, it's a little irritating because, Dow was the bear. It was dropping the most aggressive by far. And then obviously we saw a shift in momentum. So this might end up pushing Dow way back up. Because now what do we see? We see a sweep of liquidity. The market comes back up. And then we can tell that it was a very short-lived price action down here. So the intention behind sweeping these lows is no longer all about making lower lows and bearish structure. The intention could have just been to liquidate retail buyers to then send this up even more. So let's see what happens next. All right, starting to get more bearish momentum again. See if NQ works its way to this next level of imbalance. This is the New York Open right here. So right now, to me, it feels like we're exchanging. We're swapping from this order block is what we're seeing. That's how I'm looking at this. But something interesting is now YM is starting to push down again. Look at this. YM is getting very bearish, while NQ is like slightly starting to push. So the momentum has shifted again towards Dow. More bearish momentum with Dow again. Let's see it. Let's see where Dow's at when NQ breaks this low here. Or if, specifically if. We still have our original exit down here. Dow more bearish once again. So now that price action's back, you're seeing these push down and down and down. That's a good sign for Dow. I'll give you my thoughts on oil here in a second for sure. No problem. Let me just continue to manage this. In my opinion, I want to be able to manage this effectively. What's up, Salvador? We got an imbalance sitting around 48,772. Yep, I see the same thing. Would you sell silver at 58.70? 1 minute time frame. Takes the highs. It trades below for a little bit. Nah, if I was going to sell something, it would be selling gold, not selling silver. Because gold has way more bearish momentum right now than silver for sure. I feel good though. Walked away with 2 entries. Solid. If the momentum shifts to NQ, would we look for an NQ shakeout? For a buy or a sell? DeAndre? Ricky, well, I see gold still in a good area, not just because I can't trade silver, but I do understand. Yeah, I mean, we just have different, we have different entry models or whatever. Like, we might just trade different. Remember, guys, when I give you my perspective, it's not because I think it's the only answer. It's just what follows my plan. Like, you can trade differently than I can do, 100%. Do what makes sense to you, I'm only sharing with you guys what I do and how I'm following my process instead of just, doing anything else. So if you have a different approach, and your approach has information, data, that it's profitable, do it. 100% do that. All right, so pretty good movement so far. I am going to I think I'm going to move my stop to this high here just in case like all we're doing is an imbalance fill and this thing wants to continue some more. So I'm going to tighten up this stop here. All right, let's see if we break this low. Still about 75 points from the exit. Yeah, this is a pretty mellow move so far. Kind of stopped pushing down. Look at this. So we're getting relatively close. Dow's still holding that zone. See if it breaks through or not. I'm just being mindful, even though I wouldn't take a buy here because the market, when it traded up to these highs, it was only trading up here for 7-8 minutes before it just started bleeding out. So I'm not like looking to force anything here for buys. I really don't think that's a good idea. So, yeah, I'm going to keep this relatively composed over here. And, structure-wise, right now, this, right, we're trading in this structure. So this is the low from Wednesday, from Christmas Eve. This is kind of what we're looking at. So at the moment, I mean, we have, if you look at NQ, where NQ already traded, is actually, hold on. Yeah, it's just Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, we're trading well below all that Christmas Eve price action with NASDAQ and S&P. So we have this trading back down here again. Very bullish. Look at this, how aggressive it's reacting. And then Dow is moving up. Definitely not as aggressive, though. All right, so gold still going lower. Right, gold finally at this level on like these higher time frames into this zone. as I had talked about. So super bearish. It just keeps dropping, whereas silver is actually doing the opposite. It's holding this structure way better. But since I have a key zone right here, I'm not looking to do anything there with metals. Buys on silver, but at lower interest zones. All right. Dow holding still. NQ looks like it's getting good rejections. So if it eventually works its way down to here, it looks like Dow can continue to just break lower. So I think we're in the clear for our take profit. Look at how much more bearish Dow is versus NQ and S&P. It's so different. So here we have this trade running across the accounts. So we're looking at almost about a 3R. So across like 15, 16 accounts. Yeah, it's looking good right now. Just traded down into here. So we're basically creating equal lows now. Liquidity being formed. Dow with more bearish momentum. All right, keep holding this lower. I'm going to get into, majors, oil. I just want to make sure we're navigating this trade appropriately since it's real time. We have more stakes on here. Yeah, this is being copy traded. This is one of 16 accounts. I use TradeSync. Oil entries 58.72. Okay. So for oil, right, we were looking at oil over here. Oil sells. Oil rejected this imbalance super nice right out of here and then just completely reversed. So structure-wise, it's honestly not my favorite. Of course, we break below. We see this thing bleed out. Remember, we had a sell here from last week, and I'll get back to that here in a second. So, okay, so we just broke below the lows here with Dow. NQ trying to get lower. Dow actually just lower. Yeah, it's TradeSync is for futures. So if you're into trading futures, you can go ahead and check that out. Here's this should give you, I think, a promo link right there. That's for the trade copier. All right, slowly but surely, this thing is grinding its way down. So not enough, demand or anything to take this for a buy or a shakeout. Still just holding the sells. I don't think this is a good buy either. So I wouldn't take a buy here. I would be more mindful of sells, of like exiting the market. But all right, going back to oil. What I don't love about this trade is, yes, we break below the low, so we have a shift in structure. The problem that I have right now is that the break below just reversed so quickly. So Friday, during New York session, we trade all the way down to here. And then instantly the next day, we just kind of eat it all back up. So it's not my favorite price action by any means. Okay, guys, so we're now breaking through here. In the past, you'll notice all there is here is imbalance. Some pretty strong imbalance. You do have a little bit of an order block right there. So the probabilities of this going even further down, I think, are pretty good. We're now seeing NQ and S&P trade into this imbalance that I was talking about here for New York Open. So if you really wanted to just lock in the profits here, then I'm with it. I totally get it. I think taking the profits out of this area is solid, is a high probability exit. With the imbalance that we have over there, I'm cool with letting the imbalance just like filling this imbalance. What I am going to do is I'm going to tighten up my stop a little bit more just in case the market doesn't want to keep going in our favor. And then, we can still collect on that. S&P and Q still pushing. Now, if this isn't going to reject, then more than likely we clear New York session lows here. So let's see. S&P worked its way down. I think this is like a lot of people I think are going to look for buys here. Especially smart money. You see the big sell, right? So I think people would buy here all day. However, with the lack of demand here with this push, I think this is going to clear out and liquidate these lows. I don't think this holds. And that's based off of data, structure, like actual price action here. All right, NQ working its way further down. Nice. Meanwhile, Dow isn't looking to push like that. Let's see. Holding it down, folks. We basically want to see this New York Open cleared. I think that last push drives Dow, or it can drive Dow to take profit. So what I was getting at with oil, what I don't love about this move is just how quickly we come back up. When you start to look at this from a different perspective, let's just say even the daily, it's like, yes, it was a massively bearish move down, but just for this thing to get eaten right back up. So what is the intention here of the market? Was this to create bearish structure, or was this just to liquidate buyers, lure in sellers just to bring this right back up? So in my opinion, it's just not the cleanest movement here. It's not, a textbook setup. It clears lows and then immediately reverses. If anything, this actually looks like it could be a what I would call a shakeout for a buy. That this liquidates tons of buyers, then completely reverses. So right now we have break and retest sellers that are, joining the party here. So I think buys down here probably make sense. Could this sell work out? It might. But I think it does lose probability because of how quickly it just rebalances everything. Okay, so look, we saw NQ push down even further. And then immediately this 1 minute candle kind of eats it right back up. So this is definitely starting to lure in buyers out of there. Then the next leg down looks like it's coming together here. So I wonder if we see a break below these lows over here, these New York session. If we trade down to here, and where does that take us with Dow? New York Open getting pressed down. 40 points till take profit for Dow. Who already took profit? Who's still holding this one with me? Let's see. What's good, chat? I put my SO on my phone. I put my stop loss, I'm assuming, on my above the 10 a.m. candle. You still looking to buy YM? Do you use the smallest accounts? Do you use the smallest account as the main one to copy for peace of mind? No, it doesn't really matter. Like at this point, I'm just very used to it. So yeah, it doesn't really bother me. I use like 150K as the leader. But I think that's a good thing to do for sure. Yeah, for sure. If you're, like there are numbers have created a psychological effect, especially if you're thinking about money or you're not familiar with certain contract sizes and everything. Having, like, let's say you're trading 50Ks and then you might have other 150s or whatever. If that's the case, yeah, and you're trading percentages, I think it helps with overthinking, thinking so much about the P&L and not as much on the risk reward. Yeah, if you have a 50K and then you have other accounts, use the 50. Understand what your proper risk is on that 50. Maybe it's like $200 or something. And then, as long as I'm doing this right, everything else is being traded responsibly as well. All right, so NQ's got a bit more steam on it now relative to Dow. Look at NQ, starting to push even lower and lower, about to break below the New York low now. You see it happening there. S&P starting to break below as well. And then, more of Dow just creating liquidity here. So a lot of choppiness here across the board. A lot of liquidity building up. Sessions near the New York lows here starting to build up as well. Stops in profit, so not too concerned. Stops are up here. You're seeing a big reversal off the rip with NQ and S&P. I think this is more of like luring in buyers again, just more and more and more of that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Dow crack this high real quick and then make another move down. Like when you start seeing price action around support, big, the engulfing candles, right after these, I think the market typically wants to, if it's brought in enough liquidity, that's when it'll just yank it back down. So your stops are above the 1009 candle. 10:09 candle. Corey, are you talking about oil still, or are you talking about? What are you talking about? All right, so here, more sideways movement. Look at how much of a difference, like NASDAQ and S&P ripping right now. Dow, tiny movement. So that type of price action, when you're seeing one super bullish, the other one's the one that you're in, and you're in a sell. So you want this to be the bear. This is exactly what we want to see. Very minimal bullish price action when the correlated indices are super aggressive. These are at least better signs that if the market works its way down again, Dow is going to be in a good place. Now you asked, if the market works its way down to here, am I still going to take a buy? It'll depend on what price action looks like. So, for example, if we get down to here and then we start seeing a shift in momentum, all of a sudden price action starts to get a bit more bullish on Dow versus NQ and S&P, then yes. Because right now, current price action, so like the price action we're seeing in real time, it has Dow as more bearish. Like that's what we're seeing over and over again. However, if by the time we're over here, we start seeing a shift in that momentum, then that's a different story. Meanwhile, right now, we're getting Dow to start to fill some of this imbalance. We're seeing NQ, S&P, they're doing their thing. Now it's going to be whether Dow is going to hold this structure and then work its way down further, which is possible. Here we go. So we rebalanced, played into the gap, and then we're losing momentum now. This is solid. On YM, TP just hit on YM. Nice. Congrats. Well done. So yeah, anyways, these are my thoughts on oil. I get the idea of selling over here. I see it. However, I wouldn't take this with the full R, with the full risk, because the move down, like I'm not convinced this is a bearish structure. This all is just way too bullish. We don't really stay down there for too long. I'm not sold. All right, so that's oil. Let's take another update here with metals. Metals working their way back down to our original zone of interest. I don't take anything else here. This already did its thing in my opinion, so nothing to see there. This is for, I think it's just letting it go, work its way down again. Meanwhile, we have gold just still bleeding out. Like I said, guys, like not ideal to get in front of this thing at all. Like gold is just way too bearish for any of that business right now. No chance. All right, back to indices. Look at NQ starting to trade upwards again. While Dow's like, nope. We're working our way down. Trust. We are going to keep pushing down. And then once NASDAQ's like, all right, fine, I guess we'll go down, then Dow pushes with even more force. Because as we've seen, basically for the majority of this price action, Dow is just very bearish. And as long as Dow stays leading the downwards movement, there's no buying that I would do either. I'm at 40 points from take profit right now. Oh my God. Just make up your mind, bro. NQ pushing even further. Looks like it wants to trade maybe into this imbalance up here. Let's see. Yep. Right into this area. Let's see if it works its way down here soon. So look at this. Support, support, support. Bullish candle. This is for Dow traders. This is like, oh, okay, finally. It's, you know, it's losing momentum. It's going to engulf. I think this is luring in plenty of buyers. I'm still willing to see it play out. I have my stop here on this little 1 minute structure. So I'm not looking to change anything. No evidence yet. Are you guys learning more about reading price action, especially through correlated assets? You know, what I do to why I would either keep holding a trade or get out of a trade. You know, when it takes to be an exit manual, the patience, the discipline it takes to just let a trade through, like let a trade happen the way you want it to happen. Right now, this trade is 135 points in profit. What's up, Jay? NQ still pushing further up while Dow is just holding down the price. It's just like suffocating price. Bull's not really able to get into here, so our short still remains intact. I'm gonna keep holding this. I see no reason to hold it, and the stop profit's there for a reason. Because now, also, think about it this way. Now, if NQ is going to, you know, work its way down to fill some of the, just even this imbalance, not even if it wants to take out these lows, but if it just wants to fill this imbalance, it's going to push Dow pretty, you know, pretty much into the next imbalance. So signs are only really pointing in the right direction. All right, look at that, guys. Gold with the absolute liquidity sweep right now, playing into this imbalance. And as I mentioned, the silver buys are the only option, in my opinion. And this zone for buys, for me at least, you have the sell-off here. So there's kind of, I guess, two ideas. One over here. And then we've seen plenty of support in the past, some structure right around this zone. So if you're looking to take positions on silver and you can handle it, yeah, something like this, I wouldn't even go for too much. But trading it into here, I mean, you have at least a 3R, I'd say, if not more. Something like this on silver. Let's just let it do its thing. All right, NQ now starting to crack above this high, while Dow is still squeezing. So yeah, good news still remains, in my opinion. All we need is just even a mellow pullback. With like the probabilities are even better if this keeps going. The divergence is pretty strong now. Look at how bullish it's been while Dow is not making any strides to the upside whatsoever, and only building up retail buyers. So right now, retail's buying up a whole bunch, and the thought process for a lot of people is, oh, Dow is lagging behind. Like, oh, well, if NQ and S&P already went up, well, you know, Dow is just going to follow it, so it's just delayed. And I look at it as the opposite. My thoughts are, buys are already pouring in on NQ and S&P, while Dow isn't doing any of that. So if we have NQ and S&P, drop down to rebalance, mitigate for whatever reason, then that's only going to push Dow further down. So, yeah, this is I look at it from I think the opposite perspective completely. All right, outside of oil, outside of metals, guys, are you guys looking at any majors? Australian euro, the pound, the yen. Do you guys have anything that you have in mind? Any ideas, any setups that you're like, oh, yo, check this out. I need feedback on this. Let me know, guys. USD CHF longs. So that would be 6S shorts. So if you're buying dollar franc, it'd be selling 6S. I see why you would want that. The market takes out tons of liquidity here, only to actually create a bit more. Maybe not. Okay, maybe not. So, and then we're look like we're almost ready to crack this liquidity here. Will this push down be the one finally? We shall see. The only reason I wouldn't have sold this is because of structure. So does the market take out the lows? Absolutely. Tons of liquidity here. Goodbye. Right? Retail buyers all in this zone and then all over here. So there's plenty of support, trend line liquidity. So does it break below? Yes, it does. But does that define the direction of the market and the continuation of the market? And in my opinion, no. So the market actually taking this out, instantly coming back in, creating some, bullish structure up here, and then on the open, or on during the London and New York crossover, then it finally rips. This was an excellent buy. Maybe you would have wanted it a little bit lower, but the shakeout buy was textbook here for CHF. So would I have sold here? No, because the structure was just not complete. It was not strong at all for me. So that's why I wouldn't take it. Obviously, you all may interpret structure differently than I do, and that's totally fine. All right, we're starting to push below. So we just swept liquidity from this here. So the liquidity sweep finally happened. And then, this comes right back up again. So we got below. We were a little under 30 points short from take profit still. So now let's see if it's only going to sweep it or if we're going to just keep working down. So if we suddenly start seeing this NQ reversal, then that should tag us into TP territory. Based on what we get here, I might even move my stop again and just follow this 1 minute structure very, very strictly. But based on what I'm seeing, I might let this thing breathe. I might let it run. Let's see. Now we saw price get down to 48,779. If we go back to the past here, where price action was relevant, here is where we got to. Oh man, this is rejecting pretty strongly. So we came down here to here, 779, into this imbalance right over here. So we're kind of rejecting this move. And then from here, I think we still have all of this zone to get to. So gonna just let it get there. Plain and simple. It doesn't look like I'm gonna take the the buy. At least not right now. It doesn't seem like that's going to be the best choice. So we're 20 points out from take profit. Looks like that'll put this trade at maybe a little under 1,000. So like right around, I'd have to do the math, but right around 15K on the trade. But most importantly is the RR, about a 3.5. The original plan was a little higher, so it actually would have been a much better payout. And then the entry model was based off of a shorter than usual demand down here before the reversal. So I wasn't as convicted. So I didn't take my full R risk. I actually took this with half R. So, which is fine. Trade is a trade, right? Either way, this is just about a quality trade nonetheless. And our data shows what it needed to show. So here we have, NQ is still not even giving much. So honestly, Dow is probably going to keep dropping more. But I don't want to overextend this trade because we just don't know if the market wants to, if the market's going to want to turn around here. Like, this could just want to mitigate on its own. So I'd rather just let it. No estoy buscando compras ya con esto. Como Dow Jones, o C30, está bajando bajista con más potencia. No quiero ser el toro en contra del el oso con todas las fuerzas del mundo. So, yeah. So anyways, we're pretty close here. Structure's looking good. What I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to tighten up structure again. Tighten up my stop profit to here. In a worst case scenario, we still get a little bit of something, In case this doesn't want, this was going to miss me by 5 points, which is possible. Anything's always possible. Would be unfortunate, but it's, you never know. And yeah, we're trading through to, this is the price action that we're trading it through, right? So right now we are basically bouncing through all of this zone. The market traded right to here. I don't see, the only downside is if it's going to reverse so much and then come down later to this area. So I guess that's the one thing we would be unexpected and unfortunate, but it's possible. But with all of this imbalance and with the other indices being stronger bulls, yeah, I think that would be the case. Being 5 points away from exit, that would be some shit, huh? Holding. All right. Who's already taking profit on Dow? Who's already taking their money? Called it a day. I saw you post something, but I couldn't find the message again. Oh, yeah. So you said you took NQ because you missed your YM. You got a 3R, but would you consider that a gamble? I had an entry at 793. Dow had already gone way down. I would say that it wasn't a valid, selling NQ up here wasn't the most valid trade. You were shorting Dow already had given signs that it was going to drop. So I wouldn't say it was the best idea. Because you were counting on, at least not based off of my entry model, I would say that you're kind of hoping that NQ is just going to follow. The setup was very similar, so I don't think it's a terrible trade. I just don't think it was the exact entry that, I think it maybe was more hope. That's how I would probably describe that. But, yeah. If your intention is to emulate the exact system, then you weren't following the most bearish asset at the time. So that would be incorrect, but the overall idea is solid. You know what I mean? All right, so NQ with the bounce. Is this going to hold? Yeah, I mean, a little bit of luck. Like, if, you know, I mean, you know how it goes. Like, indices will move together a lot of the times. What you get the most money out of is going to come down to, like, did you trade the right asset? So, fortunately, everything moved pretty smoothly together. And at one point, NQ was even starting to get a bit more bearish. So, it worked out. It would have been really wrong if you would have bought something, then for sure. But I'd say asset-wise, right call. Or directionally, obviously the right choice. Asset-wise, yeah, I think maybe a little bit of luck on that. All right, so we've just only seen the yen continue to work its way down. I do see very aggressive movement before reversals. The market trades right back up into here. I think it honestly misses the big sell zones over here, so I think we can get yen sells later. Good news right now is Dow working its way back down after we get some pretty aggressive movement from NASDAQ and S&P. So we might hit that TP. 20 points away. So you just took silver buys because on CFDs it hadn't hit the zone at all. It just mitigated. Okay. So, yeah, my stance still is that I just traded the futures data feed even if CFDs are off. So I would just enter on what futures say. That's still my stance with that. But obviously, you know, everyone has a different opinion. Oh, I didn't get this alert. Why didn't I get this alert? All right, so I wanted Australian buys out of here. Clearly, this would have worked. We would have gotten a great mitigation out of this zone. And then right now, we would be, I think, maybe still in this. But either way, the market had a nice pullback down to this area here. Over here, we have... This is trading into the lows, so this was the 23rd, so Tuesday, like New York Open. We saw everything else way more bearish. Everything else way more bearish, except for CAD futures. CAD futures was kind of working its way into right around the same area. Filled the imbalance, obviously aggressive reversal, comes crashing right back down. So, I mean, in terms of what's been the most bullish, AUD did pick up quite a bit of momentum, but then slowed down significantly. So if we're looking at majors and any positions, let's walk through this. So this is now complete. So we'll start with Australian. Has rejected that order, bounced up, lost momentum right away. So if you want to look at this from a selling perspective, now that structure is bearish. We went higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and then we break through here, work our way down, try to get back up into here just to crash back down. So structure-wise, we are definitely starting to see lower lows here. So with Australian, if we're going to look to sell, we see a sweep to the upside. The market rebalances. This is looking really efficient. Another move up here. This was London's end of Asian session going into London. So you see one move to the upside here before it works its way down. So potential sell opportunities here. Of course, whenever I'm looking at USD pairs, this is AUD USD basically, I want to stay aware of, okay, well, how's the market working its way to these zones? Is the rest of are the dollar pairs like really bullish, really bearish? What does everything else look like? So, but looking to short this, I would want a continuation further down if this is going to be a good play. Tienes que usar los micros, Diego. Los micros, no solo los minis. Los micros es lo que necesitas para poder operar oro. Son grandes las zonas, entonces posiblemente no podrías. All right, so we're starting to squeeze again. We're seeing a bit more bearish momentum with everything, really. Actually, NQ starting to want to push down while Dow not really giving us as much as we'd want. All right, so what about NZD here in this situation, right? The spike up was around 1 a.m. Central. Does NASDAQ have something similar? Not really. It's actually at a higher zone that might have something, and this is more like liquidity, so I don't love shorting NZD. Euro here, sideways movement, tons of sideways movement, so no sells in my opinion. I would just prefer for Euro to kind of liquidate all this stuff here. Take all of this out. So no shorts on Euro. CAD, same thing. It's a bit more bullish. The yen, yeah, a bit more bullish. Maybe it gets up to here later, but I want to keep in mind the other dollar pairs. Same thing with the pound. Same thing with the franc. So, yeah, I mean, between all of this, the Australian has the best shot of actually selling out of this zone. So I'd say keep this one in mind. So today's setups, we, in profit currently with Dow. And then here is the idea with Australian. So selling in this zone. Dow reversal coming in hot. Coming in real hot here. So does this stay within the structure? Am I going to give back a good amount of money here? Let's see. There's a chance that all the market wanted was another imbalance fill just to work its way right back down. If that's the case, then we might be in the clear. GU shorts. I didn't see them, but I can take another look. So 6B is virtually GU. Selling anything in here? I don't think so. Not at all. This looks disgusting. All this consolidation, liquidity. I don't want to do. I want to have nothing to do with this. I would not sell this now. Just sideways movement everywhere. More than likely, this takes out all of this. I could see a sweep above all of this. Then maybe later something could be qualified, but for now, no, I'm good. I'm personally good. Yeah. I mean, you got to look at it and just remember you get to qualify. Like you have all the power in the world. The only way you're taking bad trades is if you don't know what a good trade looks like and you're figuring that out. You're figuring out your system, or you allow your desire for money to win. That's it. So if you give the power, you give the power away. It's a release of power. It's like, let me just choose my greed. Let me choose my short-term mindset. That's all that's the only reason that there's ever a case for it. So we just have to remind ourselves, ask ourselves these key questions, like, what is it that am I trading through my system, or am I trading through my desires? Am I trading through my expectations? Just keep those in mind, and we should be in a good spot. All right, looks like NQ might go for another sweep down, take out a lot of this buyer's liquidity, drive this down. S&P, a lot of liquidity, a lot of liquidity here. So there's motive for bearish price action again. Can we get another 35 points out of Dow? That's the question. Took silver buys. All right, I looked at that already. Okay, so let's go check in on metals. Got a little bounce there. All right. I think you're in this little bounce, right? This is kind of what you're trading right now. Somewhere in there. I'm chilling. Here we go. All right, getting a little push down. Let's go. Let's get another 30 points. Come on, pal. You can do it. We're cheering you on. You know, what is it? Tom the Train? The engine that could, right? All right, so Thomas the Train. S&P going for liquidity sweep. NQ starting to fill in balance. And Dow here now creating more liquidity, moving sideways. This might be how the market sets up the buy. So, for example, if NQ starts to just bleed out, it starts to pick up way more bearish momentum, and Dow is more of a slower push down, that might be what really sets up the buy for Dow that we had in mind. So look at how now NASDAQ is dropping a lot more aggressively, and Dow is dropping but kind of holding up a bit more. This might be where we're seeing that change in price action from NQ becoming the bear and Dow kind of more slowly working its way down. So, for example, if we keep seeing this drop, trade back into these areas or even lower, and that might keep pushing Dow down, but just at a slower pace. Then if now NQ becomes very bearish while Dow is just slow on the way down, that might be what actually gives us the confirmation to be able to to buy. All right, keep pushing. And then let's see, 23 points out from take profit here. So remember, a buy limit when it's futures, a buy limit is basically selling, it's closing my sell position. That's the whole point of this here. This is the take profit. All right, let's see if we're going to get an annoying bounce out of this order block or if we're just going to push. All right, 10 points, folks. Here we got it. 6 points. 4, 3. Two, 1. All right. Cool. Take profit hit. Well, I wanted to go through this one with you guys until the very end just to make sure that we're good. Obviously, you guys are seeing some strong momentum working its way down. I want to kind of see if I am going to take a buy on Dow. I want to see things start to slow down a bit more. On the higher time frame, obviously this is doing very good. I'm in Chicago. So right now here, if we look at the lows from the 23rd, so Christmas wise, right? Remember, we're trading Christmas price action. NQ and S&P, these are way down here. These are way, way, way down here. So I'm going to be patient. I don't necessarily think we got to force any trades on the buys with Dow, since it's already been very bearish compared to everything else. Don't think it's necessary to take any buys. Now, getting NASDAQ to clear below all of this, S&P trading below all of this, and if Dow is still within the zone, then we can approach it maybe with a half risk or something. But even now, look at the price action, right? The 1 minute candle, Dow is starting to kind of push up a little bit, whereas NQ is just super aggressive. So don't trade, don't force anything. Don't give back profits if the setup isn't fully there yet, and go from there. Has it been bearish? If yes and NAS are in price action, yes. So in like real time price action, we're seeing stronger bearish candles throughout the last hour and a half, for sure. Now, bigger picture, basically what happened here is during the Asian Open and just the first half of the day, NQ and S&P have been more bearish, while this has just kind of been trading up there for much longer. So bigger picture, like I said, I think what would take out the most liquidity would be for NASDAQ to break these lows and for S&P to crack the lows, which it hasn't. So I would definitely want to see that happen first. Like, I don't think no business buying Dow Jones if we don't see a liquidity sweep. Because think about how many easy buys have been here for retail. There's so many. So I wouldn't necessarily push it right away. But, if this rejects already, because this was a 68-point drop, if this thing reverses and it trades all the way up to here right away, then it already did its thing. So not needing to force anything here. Plus, there's an even lower zone down here, trading into Tuesday's New York Open. So there's no rush, at least from my perspective. Could you please tell NQ probably longs mitigations to be aware? Could actually break 24K. Yeah, I'm not buying NASDAQ. No. Cool. Sweet. All right, guys. Well, I mean, that's what we got going on for today. I like what we saw out of price action. Honestly, if you wanted to just really learn about price action, learning how to hold trades, manage them, I mean, today's trade was pretty textbook across the board with all of that. So, yeah, I mean, you guys saw the way I go about doing what I do. Like, every single element of it was happening in real time. So, again, guys, going into 2026, I'm going to keep saying this because I'm very, very confident in how we can build traders. So if you're not trading this way yet, systematic, mechanical, composed, and you've been doing this a long time and nothing is changing, it won't hurt having daily feedback, having a group that is working at high standards and accountability, and we're having a lot, like these sessions, trust me, are next level. Not just the over 150 lessons you have access to that will help you evolve as a trader on your own time, the exercises that you work through to make sure you're implementing the new things that you're learning and you're not just reading some random information and then just like, all right, staying the same, like doing the actual changes and implementations. Like that's what we have. That's why the syndicate in my opinion, works. It's because it's not just here's info, here, just listen to me. It's no. This is what is. So if you want to take your 2026 serious and stop playing games with yourself or stop guessing, then here is the link for you to actually get funded, actually get payouts, and scale them. Obviously, it's not going to happen overnight, but it is a very intentional growth plan. So hit that link that's right there. I know that, I can't speak for the people that are in there already, but I'm sure they can in here for you guys. If you want more information on it, obviously other people there will let you know. But outside of that, guys, more than anything, only a couple days left of the year. Right now, you may have certain goals financially that you want to hit in these markets. You may want to, end the year with the bang, but that doesn't mean trade reckless. That doesn't mean up your contract size, up your lot size. Just trade. Like, we don't have to do a whole bunch. Trade what works. Manage your expectations. And right now that this trade is over, I actually want you to do this. I want you to ask yourself, have I let go of this trade already completely? Have I reset myself with this trade? Whether I took it or not. Maybe you missed the trade. That's probably where mistakes will happen. You've missed it, and your FOMO is crazy right now. Oh, I could have made this. I would have passed. I would have been payout ready. Whatever it is, right? Don't worry about none of that. The trade is already over. The trade has happened. There is an abundance of trades that are going to be available. It doesn't need to be today. It doesn't need to be right now. You will not, the answer to whatever you're feeling is not in retaliation. It's not. Remember, the focus is to become a better trader, not to feel better about yourself. You're going to feel better about yourself if you start focusing on trading at the standard you should be at. Not getting what you want, but trading at the level that should pay you consistently over time. As long as that's the priority, then you'll start winning. But as long as the P&L is what you allow to validate you, then you're going to stay losing. You're going to keep blowing accounts. You're going to keep getting close and close. You might sneak in a payout here and there. You might sneak in getting funded here and there. But as long as the P&L still has you by the throat, you're just going to be a slave to the market. You're going to be a slave to your feelings. You're going to be a slave to it all. All right? So if you don't want to be a slave to all of that and you want actual guidance, click that link, try it out, or at least create a plan for yourselves, guys. I believe that everyone can accomplish this, regardless if it's with me or with anybody. I 100% believe it. But put in the work, get your thoughts on paper, start to structure it out. Let's make a game plan. Let's go crush it in 2026. We'll be live again tomorrow, folks, so don't miss it. And if you're new to the Tradetopia community overall, whether it's the free community or it's with the syndicate squad, check it out. There's tons of resources, our playbook on our entries, exits, how to understand the markets if you're a little bit newer, a whole bunch of psychology sessions in there. So check it out. Enjoy. Thank you guys all for hanging out here with me. If you made some money today and you want to share your testimonial because, you're awesome like that, then feel free to do so. Guys, I'm going to be giving away 2 more accounts this Friday based on the testimonials that are here. So go ahead and check these out. If you have a testimonial with Tradetopia and you want to share whether it's what you learned today, how it went today, then we're more than grateful to receive it. So check it out here, guys. Here's the link to the testimonial. All right, guys. Much love. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Great start to the week.